Okay, so in this very long overdue update, I'm taking the original design as seen here with the coupling nuts and the nozzles that are going through the lid, and I'm scrapping that idea entirely and instead remounting the two electrode arrays onto the inside walls of the tank. And for now, the design will be kind of an open air style with two containers that shroud over each electrode array, or I'll do one that shrouds over both if I'm doing a combined collection. Okay, here I got all the pieces I need. These are 2.5 by 1.5 inches. Now it's time to notch out the square. Alright, step one is complete, which is aligning these two acrylic plates from this wall over here and the bottom wall over here. That ensures that this square notch is the exact same dimension as this one, from this edge and the other edge. Now I drop down my pins, and then I grab my piece and just place it right over, and now it's time to add the solvent. right, here's the test setup. We got our electrical connection for each electrode here. We got both of our tubes for the gases going to these bubbler cups. And there's our power supply. For this test, we're just gonna use a bunch of baking soda, and I got some water. This looks a little sketchy, but we gotta give it a go. All in. Damn, I think we need some more. Sorry, Mom. Surely should be enough. Yeah. Gosh. Just pour the whole thing in. So let's max out the current. This is a good sign. All right, so we're at about 18 volts, 10 amps for just baking soda. Okay, so I just gently bumped this line and a bunch of bubbles came out. Look at that. So let's see if I could. Like oddly can't come over the pressure. All right, so far the fit's looking pretty good. You can see there's the combined setup with the plates, and this will just slide right over. So now I gotta cut some strategic slots on both sides. Okay, I just got all the side slots cut through. You guys can see 2 there, 2 down on that end, and I think it sits pretty nice. Finally, we could do the full-scale test with the sodium hydroxide, as the power supply is freed up after all the rust experiments. All right, so for the electrolyte, I'm going to be using this crystal lye drain opener. It contains sodium hydroxide, and I looked up the spec sheets and it claims it's like 99 or 100% sodium hydroxide. So this should be a lot better than that baking soda test. All right, we're just going to dump the whole thing. Damn. Power. All right, we're at 7 volts and 10 amps. We can't even move more amps than this. A little update here. It's holding a nice amperage, but it seems as though it only bubbles when you like tilt this up. See, like that? I think same goes on this one. I think the gas is still leaking out of these seals, unfortunately. After the disappointing performance from the dual collection setup, I decided to go ahead and rotate both electrodes and try the combined setup with the single container. Very, very warm. You know, that actually wasn't too bad. All right, and here goes the cover. As you can see, I've needed to add a lot of weight because this thing likes to shift. And the bubbler is acting really strange. I don't even know what is going on. It's like you have to like slightly move it and then it just starts releasing bubbles. But it doesn't stay continuous. It just like stops. I think then it leaks out of there until you agitate it. And it goes here. It's really weird. Dang. Another one. Oh. Okay, so we're gonna change the scope of the experiment. I'm gonna remove everything. It was around this time that I started to have a hunch for the fundamental flaw in the design, which I'll try to explain at the end of the video. But in the meantime, I quickly cycled through 2 more variants or just ideas to kind of fledge this theory out, and you'll see them here coming up. The first was a jug with a vinyl tube to a loose bag. Then I tried a bunch of balloon collection setups. And I realized I don't know how I'm gonna be able to harvest this because I duct taped the bottom. So that'll be an interesting task. Here's a return of the magic stick, if you guys recall that. Okay, so we got a flame. But oh, okay, that's the hydrogen. Still prefers to go under the container than into the balloon. Oh my god, I'm like scared of this shit. Holy what the oh my god. That thing just burned off all the hairs on my arm. That was like a jet stream. God damn. After those last few tests, I decided just to take a 1-week break on everything, and I took the best parts of each test and tried to put together, in my mind, the most efficient way to collect gas using the type of inverted container setup that I have. And this is what I came up with. You want to give the plastic bag just a light squeeze from the top to see it dispersing? Yeah,
oh, that's a good point.
Just kind of hold it, yeah.
Next to the dangerous chemical water?
Yeah. Power this thing on.
Is this thing filling up already?
It has now been about 2 hours since I started the electrolyzer, and I think we're at the point where it's time to pull off the bag, tie it off, and then do a test.
Whoa.
We got it. Successful. After observing all the different tests, I came to my best conclusion for what the fundamental flaw of the design was. In order to move gas through a tube, there needs to be a pressure differential. And by having everything connected together, the whole system is essentially just at the same pressure. So the gas will naturally find small breaches in the pressure boundary and leak. Especially if there is significant resistance or a higher pressure region on the collection side. Then the gas would take the path of least resistance and would simply leak out of the system before traveling down the hose. The only way I really envision this project continuing would be through just completely ditching the open tank design and pivoting to something with actual pressure retaining parts like flanges, or maybe some sort of like snap closed lid with a seal. And then I would release the gas through using like a ball valve or some sort of check valve. And then I could just directly release the gas into a balloon of some sort. So there'd be an extremely high pressure region and I could just vent it out to the atmosphere. Now, while these ideas alone seem fairly feasible, once I start to add in the hybrid design, where I'm trying to quickly pivot between independent collection and combined collection, everything's gonna get a lot more complicated and definitely more risky with the high pressure aspect. So if you guys have any ideas or suggestions, please just let me know down in the comments below, and maybe I'll further explore this project with a massive upgrade in design.